ahead and get started. I respect everybody's time. It is 6:30 on the dot, and I want to be able to get back home to my family. I just got in from D.C., but I felt that this was important to bring this information to you all, because at the end of the day, you all are the citizens of this great city, and the decisions that we make affect you, and it is only fair that we hear your input. So before we start, I'm going to ask if Deacon Lee Bernard from that school over there in the country, I'm sorry, from that 8 through 3, if he would come and open us up with the word of prayer, and then we'll jump right into it. Mr. Bernard.
Thank you. Good evening. Could we all just bow our heads? Dear Lord in heaven, we thank you once again for bringing us together as citizens of Jackson, Mississippi, and surrounding areas. We ask that you would just keep us safe, let us ask the right questions, and we get the right answers. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. All right, so listen, as stated, as you all know, my aim for this meeting, let me talk about my aims, is to make sure that we don't have a lapse in service as we did prior or previously. All right, we have to be able to provide this service, regardless of what side of the fence anybody may be on. I think it is important to understand the service that you are getting and to hear your feedback back. I had a conversation with the mayor before this meeting, and as always, I have addressed, and I'm straightforward, and Mr. McCant know, and Mr. Bernard know, I tell people my dad named Butch from Chula, my mama named Sugar from son number 2. I don't hold back on my words, all right? We should have had some information about what this would look like soon as we got out of court. Now we are at the, last hour, and there's a decision that has to be made. And, none of us on the council wants to feel like that, we are being basically bullied into making a decision with the threat of no pickup. So at the end of the day, I want to discuss these terms, because once it gets on the floor before the council, we do have the power to amend. And I believe that power will be used according to your feedback input. I want to recognize members of the administration that are here. If you all, Dr. Omar, Chief of Staff, wave your hand. Dr. Lewis Wright, CAO, and members of the city attorney are here. When I say Lewis Wright, everybody always thinks Entergy. Dr. Omari stole him from Entergy. Well, let me not just put it on her. And so, but no, Lewis Wright is with the city of Jackson. And then, of course, Melissa Faye Payne, who somebody stole from WLBT, or Fox 40. But at the end of the day, they're here. And let me say this. They're here because I believe that they want to hear your concerns just as bad as I do. And this is why we wanted to provide this. Let me apologize for it being at the last minute. I just received the contract yesterday, okay? And had opportunity to review it after we, got out of a closed session yesterday in D.C. So with that being said, I think the easiest way to do it, and I'm about to put somebody on the spot instead of me having to do it, is to let the city attorney give a brief overview. And after the city attorney gives an overview, I know there are going to be questions about the carts and all that kind of stuff. There's a mic right there, and we will take those questions, okay?
All right. Can you let me use yours? Sure. So thanks for warning me that I'd be doing that. All right. So quick overview. I did put some points together here. On the list. So major points here. The contract will be for 6 years. After the 6-year term ends, there'll be 4 options of 1 year each that can be exercised by the city. So in other words, if we like the service, we can continue to have it. The compensation, which is something I think most people want to hear about, the contract is $891,000 per month, which includes the cost of delivery of 45,000 carts, which we calculate to be enough carts for every resident. There is a contractual basis for the contract amount to increase over time once a year, looking at a consumer price index, and that's capped at 5%, and that's a fairly standard contract provision for something like this. Despite those carts, it's important to know that you don't have to use the cart. So it's a 96-gallon cart that will be provided to you by Richards, but the contract says that you can use any approved container you want, and essentially that means any garbage can you want. If you put your garbage out a certain way right now, you can keep putting your garbage out the same way. Whatever you do to get it to the street that works for you right now, you can keep doing that, or you can use the cart that's provided to you. If you have a cart that is damaged, Richards will repair the cart. If you lose the cart or it's stolen, Richards will replace the cart. They'll do that on the replacement, they'll do it once, and they won't do it if it's the fault of the customer. And just the example they gave us is they've had some places where people are putting hot coals in their garbage can, which causes problems, as you might imagine. They won't replace that, okay? But under normal wear and tear, they'll fix it or they'll replace it. They're going to collect your residential solid waste. On the second this is on the second collection date for each week. They'll also collect yard waste. They'll collect bulk waste. Do I need this? Yes. All right, I'll keep it then.
Because we're streaming live.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. All right. So you're going to have, like I said, twice weekly. You've got Monday through Saturday service. They'll pick up between the hours of 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. And one thing that's added here that's interesting this year, Rich is going to help with community cleanup. We've got illegal dumping issues. We've got litter around the city and so forth. So one of the things this contract says is we're working on how trash is bagged up by the city. Richards is going to dedicate a truck and workers that are going to drive around the city. They're going to pick that up on a daily basis. And they're going to keep a local office. It'll be open 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. They're required to staff that, have people on hand, including answering the telephone for anybody that has questions. Any big points there that somebody, Snodger? Okay. That's an overview.
Okay.
Okay, you said the can, they're gonna give us one complimentary can, right?
You're going to get one complimentary can. If that can is lost or stolen, they'll replace that can at no cost to the customer once.
When y'all have questions, so that those that are, as we're streaming can hear, just come here. We'll pass it. You get your question answered, Mr. Thompson? Yes, sir. Come on. Yes, sir.
Thanks for being here. I have a little secondhand experience with this. I'm from a little town in Georgia, less than 15,000. They had this process, this system 30 years ago. And it involved one driver, and the thing would pick the can up into the truck. And I think it went okay, I'm not sure. But my son lives in Hattiesburg. They have this system. I don't remember which days they come, but they have one green can and one brown can. The green is for garbage, and then the brown is for debris, taking it to it, because the cans are well made. They're very heavy. I mean, not very heavy, well made and well balanced. People can roll them easily. I wonder what quality these cans are going to be.
And we can pull the provision, and happy to point it out. I don't know enough about those provisions to know much about what those specifications mean. I can tell you that the company that provides the cans is the largest provider of these cans, sturdiness and so forth. And then, like I said, for people that do have trouble with that cart for some reason, they don't have to use it. There are going to still be people on those trucks that'll pick up the garbage and put it into the truck as well. So they're not just reliant on the cart.
Well, so that the thing can pick up the. By the way, in my hometown,
No. So
Yeah.
Say this, so we won't be dealing in, just saying stuff.
Exactly.
If this is a real experience, say this is what has happened with this company, so that they can hear.
I don't know what's happening with this guy.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm just saying, your question. How you
Let me say one thing on that, that I don't know if this addresses what you're asking or not, but there will be 2 hoppers on every automatic arm and picking up a cart or any of that sort of stuff. There's going to be people that are still picking up garbage and putting garbage in the truck.
Well, in Hattiesburg, in my hometown, there was only a truck driver.
Right, and that's not the case here. Yes, ma'am.
What if you have extra debris and a bunch of garbage cans?
So what the contract says is, there isn't a limit on garbage cans. So there is a limit on yard waste. So on that second day when they pick up yard waste, you're limited to 10 bags of garbage or of yard waste at a time. And they'll also pick up the bundled limbs as long as they're, I think the specification is no more than 4 inches diameter, no more than 4 feet long, bundled and tied and picked up. But there's no limit other than that 10-yard bag. And the reason for that, frankly, is we've got some neighborhoods that pile out 20, 30, 40 yard bags on certain days, and it just fills up the truck. Yard bags, there's a limit to 10.
Oh.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But they'll pick up 10 yard bags. But as far as I can tell,
Did only 2 people bid on the job?
I don't know.
Was it the 6-year contract?
I just can't say, to be honest. I don't have any idea. You'd have to ask the vendors that did and did not submit proposals.
Is anybody going to ask them?
Well, to be honest, I don't know. That's not, I hate to say that's not my job, but that's not my job.
Has anybody reached out to Hattiesburg to see?
To see why other, well,
Reached out to Hattiesburg to see how they handle this same system, sort of the same.
well, I don't think it's the same system first. I think,
know it.
right,
You explained
right.
it better for me. That's all I had. I
Okay,
appreciate it.
sure,
Thank you.
sure, sure.
All right. Any other questions? Yes, come on, Mayfair. Well, we'll start with you.
Either one of you.
Well, first of all, I'm totally opposed to the cart. And I've just heard this gentleman say that we don't need the cart. So if we don't need it, why are they purchasing them? And then, during the last storm, Richards refused to pick up debris. And I called, and I was told by the people downtown that once out there, a month declared an emergency in that contract, and I'm assuming that that contract is like the previous one, that once he declared an emergency, Richards was not obligated to pick up debris.
There is a provision in the contract that governs what happens in a storm situation. And if you'll give me a few minutes, I'll come back to that answer. Don't let me not. I just need a minute to tab through to where it is.
As of right now, it's on the cost. One of my issues, which has always been my issue, being that I know what was in previous. Yeah. One of the things that I think that is important to know is happy about, not just the contract, right? And one of those things is now, and if you go and you look at the budget, we've never had to contract out debris or litter pickup until as of recently. So what happens is, although that cost may be 800 and some thousand, right? When you look at a 400,000 contract that goes to this company, when you look at a 600,000 contract that goes over here, it goes. It's so what Richard. I mean, well, these are things that we have to deal with. We're here now. We have 2 people. The only reason why 2 people probably responded is because Richards does what they do best. They bully cities. They bully Mayor Broom in Baton Rouge, who's 2 people, which is Richards and Lee Bush.
Say that again before you go into interruption.
Yeah. So that is what they do. They took Baton Rouge, Mayor Broom, they took them to court. Okay? All right. So, you know, look, if this wasn't a court case, I've talked to Deuce McAllister, who's right there in Rankin County. I've talked. A lot of people that would have responded to this RFP did not because of the circumstances of the court case. I've asked, you all have heard me, you all have begged me, please get an RFP and please get a contract to us so that we can see it. We're getting it now at the last minute. So we're here. We're right here. There are questions. Now, when it comes before this body, we have the power to amend. So one of the biggest questions, first of all, just by a show of hands, how many have been satisfied with Richards? Okay. If you have not been satisfied with Richards, raise your hand. All right. So a lot of people have said, so we have a provider. How many people want the carts? I believe from what he just said, they are free.
Nothing is free.
Well, all right, ho. Yes. Have you finished yours?
Not really. But I can
Go ahead.
What I wanted to say was the carts are in action right now in Hinds County.
Correct.
Those people are not satisfied.
They are not.
They have been protesting. I have people that I employ that have the cart, and they have told me that they are not satisfied. And I am vehemently opposed to that cart. And I have been in Jackson a long time, and I've never had problems with people picking up garbage and picking up limbs until Richards took over. And I would refuse to let anybody blackmail me.
Yes, sir.
Threaten me. And back to what the other gentleman said, 20-some years ago in Corpus Cove, Texas, they had the trucks with the arm.
Yes, sir.
And would pick up the thing. And on garbage day, you couldn't park on the street. And so that's all I have.
All right.
Man, thank you for your time.
All right, let me go.
Does the county have men on their truck too?
I don't know. They don't have men. Whoa.
My comment was really
Ho.
quick. I just wanted to say most of us here can probably already afford our carts. And he did say that we can continue to use what we have.
Correct.
So we will probably continue to use what we have. And those people that can't afford a cart or can't afford the can get the can.
Yeah, and let me mention one other thing, because the gentleman asked about, somebody mentioned Hinds County. So keep in mind that the Hinds County provider is not Richards, first of all. Second of all, they don't have people on the back of the truck that are there. And third, they're reliant on only using the cart and only using the automatic. That's not what this process will be. Sir? Hinds County doesn't pay for garbage pickup?
Residents of Hinds County do not pay for garbage.
Well, yeah, okay. Well, I can't address that part. I wish I could take away our bills, but I can't.
They're not billed. That's something we got to deal with. They're not.
Be that as it may, but comparing the service, I just want to make that clarification.
Okay,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
have a question. My question is basically, we don't know if they're filling up because they are picking up other areas, then don't know if they're filling up because they are picking up other areas, then coming to make their, or they just fill up in our neighborhood where the garbage has been left. Like some streets don't get their garbage picked up because the truck has filled up, and then they have to go and dump or whatever. And there was issues with if they could get into the dump and all of that. I just want to know, are they going to have bigger trucks, more trucks, or anything like that, where if this happens again, they're going to be able to finish our neighborhood? You know, not just pick up part of it or a few streets and then come back the next day.
So for certain, if that happens, we need it reported so that we can, there are provisions in this contract where if Richards fails to pick up trash, that there are monetary penalties against Richards for doing that. That's not in the contract, I'll be honest. I don't know exactly. I can't compare the truck volume and capacity for what they've been doing to what they'll be doing now. That's not something that I know, and I will ask if somebody that's...
A normal contract?
It's pretty standard, yes, ma'am.
Okay, good
Yes,
deal.
ma'am. And before somebody else asks me the other question you are, but if there's a flood, hurricane, or similar different acts of God, and that causes the trash volume to increase to a certain level, then the city has to pay extra to get them to come pick that up. As long as they'll still have to do their regular garbage household pickup, but they won't be required to pick up the debris from the storm. The city will have to, which is a fairly low price, but we have to do that we have to tell them to do it. Yes, sir.
Okay, let me say first, I don't know if the owner of Richards can speak or not, but I found it offensive to say that they're bullying, because like the city did not do right by Richards. I did not see the same energy put into the water situation that I'm seeing put into the garbage situation. When you look at an $800,000 grant and this little money that this man is making, I'm not understanding or feeling it. I mean, a one-year contract, every single year, this man underbid, providing the same services, and it's an issue. I mean, I heard one councilman said to me, well, he's charging more for this part of his bid. This is like saying McDonald's charges $3 for a hamburger and Burger King charges $6. We're not going to go with it. I just don't understand it. I'm still looking at comparing apples and oranges. The energy that is going to keep Richards out, I've not heard anything intelligently definitive about why he's not doing it. When Waste Management was handling it, I can't remember, he was a minority owner.
Jamie?
On the daily. Yes. Because they were not picking up my garbage. No energy, no fight, just rubber stamp, boom, 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 when Waste Management was doing it. To the point that, Mr. Richards, I don't know who you are, where you are. There are some people in Jackson that believe in you. Not everybody is on this train. We want the best service. We want the things of you got to do this, the hoops you jump through. I wouldn't do it. I'd come straight like Waste Management. If they can charge that, why undercut yourself? And the carts and everything else, well, you got to do this, you got to do this. I'm sorry. I live in Jackson. I'm a homeowner in Jackson. Just let Jackson be, because for me to say he bullies when he has the right to go to court, that's not bullying. That's exercising his legitimate legal right to do so. To call it bullying, that just kind of,
Well, okay. I think it's the word if there are state laws that call for how there's procurement done for a garbage contract. State law dictates that. And we have to abide by that. Now, let me say this. Historically, before this, there was a negotiation, before I came on the council, right, with the tonnage and the weight of the truck. Because when the trucks stop, it messes up the asphalt. All that went away. A lot of our communities now have more streets that are being damaged right now because he does not have to comply by that same contract. Now, at this point and at this time, I'm not trying to deal with a fight about Richards or not. That's my feeling. If a person has a history from city to city of what he does, that's that person's history. If I want to take that, that's that. If you don't like it, you don't like it. But right now, I have a vote that I want to give, and I want to hear your concerns about the carts, okay? And I want to hear your concerns about the service. And when it gets before this council, regardless of what anybody say, we have the power to amend. But I want to hear your concerns. So I'm doing this, okay? Listen, and I've done this before. No, I've done this before. That's your neighborhood association, former neighborhood association president, right? Mr. McCann, you know this young lady?
I'm not
Okay.
a member. I ain't no big neighborhood
Okay.
association dude.
Okay, I'm just saying. Okay, all right, good deal.
But
Yes, ma'am.
allow me to say this is also my opinion, and the history that you're talking about, I also address in talking about how the city council has historically dealt with other issues, and I still held back to the water issue. You guys went in there with that water issue, and to a person almost, there was no big roo-rah, no hoo-ha, no boo-bah.
Well, no, I didn't vote for it. But no,
say,
I didn't vote for it,
I didn't
and
say
I'm not
you
the
voted.
executive authority.
But
There's a
I'm
difference
about your
between
vote.
legislative and executive.
And what he did, let's bring it all the way down to this.
I hear you.
Here's what a judge does. If you're obviously a
Veto and a
judge
no
is
vote.
what- Right.
Yes, out the door. Supreme Court.
So it's not out the
It ruled.
vote, then it's
All
still
right.
on the table.
All right, so at the end of the
Treat
day,
the man right.
at the end of the day, carts, no carts. Are you pleased with the service? What are some of the things that we may need to amend? What are some of the things that we need to look at as far as the termination clauses in the contract? Because this is where we are. There will be pickup. Let me say it again. There will be pickup. My personal experiences with Richards are my personal experience. You don't like it, you ain't got to. No, all right, so, but at the end of the day, I'm guaranteeing that there's going to be pickup. But I'm trying to, reason why I said about bullying, it's a fact. Here's the reason why. Jackson is the capital city of Mississippi, only 2 people responded. You want to call every other garbage company in the southern region and ask them why they didn't, they will tell you themselves. That's the reason why. We are talking about Jackson. The question was, why only did 2 people responded? Well, if somebody asked it, I owe them an answer. No. I'm not. It should. Ho. Sir, I'll acknowledge you. All right. Who's next?
It's a great discussion.
It is.
The issue of local business participation should trump all things. Now, we fought extremely hard to get waste management out of here after a 35-year stranglehold. But when we did that, we now have an opportunity to move further into a local.
Hold 1 second. So please, let's listen to each other. Go ahead, Mr. Garrett.
So we have an opportunity to get a local minority firm, and that's tremendously important. 35 years ago, any contract over $15 million had a mandatory
Joint venture. Yes, sir.
I mean, that's 35 years ago. I mean, this is the way Maynard Jackson did it in Atlanta. This is the way it's done. We have to invest in our local folk and make sure they're given opportunities to participate in this economy. If we don't do that, we're just going to continue to make ourselves poor and poor. So riches is good, but it's time to amend it to make absolutely certain that a local minority firm is involved in this contract.
Yes, sir. Did you had yes, sir.
It looks like to me, and we're talking about yesteryear. Yesteryear, you couldn't even be on the council. We don't want to go there. Well, we want to talk about this. We have lost control of water and sewer. It's gone. We are going to lose control because CCID is everywhere. That's why we're going to lose control of the police department. If our school system doesn't perform better, what happens? The school system is taken over. And we are arguing, this is the day that my father fought for. And now, all that we can do is attack one another, and that's wrong. Even your man, the clause. God says, come now, let us reason together.
That's why I called this meeting.
So now, here's a point. When Richard was running, you told me that if you voted for Richards, that the state auditor, Chad White, was going to arrest you.
I didn't say he was going to arrest me.
You told me that.
Yeah.
At a church, meeting over there, I know where it is. All right, now, here's a point. We're going to end up with a city manager appointed by the state legislature or the government because there won't be anything else left. We're proving that we fight and argue, and okay, look what happened with our county government. You're tearing up stuff. You're cussing each other out. You're doing this. We are better than that. Give Richard a chance. Branch Rickey gave Jackie Robertson a chance. And when he gave him a chance, then we get a lot of others. You tell me, Rockefeller didn't start. He started with the Civil War, making his money. Somebody gave him a chance. So Waste Management would look down in my garbage bag. They saw straw in there, they wouldn't pick it up. If you bag it up, Richard would pick it up. I've never had an opportunity. I live in Brooklee, and they pick up my garbage. I'm satisfied with them, and no much. I went to help with the emergency situation in North Jackson, in Woodhaven. We put out 30 garbage bags. They picked them up. The next day, we had an emergency situation dealing with some illness. We put out about 20 bags that last week. They picked all of it up. They didn't knock on the door and say anything. And that's what I call service. Now, we can find something wrong with everybody. Everybody. But unless he's given an opportunity, he cannot have the opportunity to build a waste management, build a multi-state type of organization that
Build a company.
that has power. That has power. Money run politics. Politics don't run money. And if he can get in a powerful position, he can do some things to help one another. Now we need to quit all this arguing, fussing, fighting going on. Give the man a chance. He has proven himself good. And this crab in a bucket mentality got to go. And that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. So let me be absolutely clear. Richard is the clear winner. I am not going to vote or do anything that will halt services. The question is about the carts and about the things that are in the contract that you may have concerns about. I'm just providing this opportunity. All right. Now, there are some other legitimate conversations. I've had conversations with people. Mr. Garrett brought up a conversation. Part of the reason is that you do want to build local capacity. And there is a local vendor, Mr. Lee Bush, that is, you know, that also applied, and he didn't score. But there is the power to amend and the power to negotiate to try to see if we can get a win-win situation. Now, let me just, since we're here, let me just give my thoughts. My thoughts would be, one, that the carts should be optional, right? That should be 100% optional. Two, since we have always had in Jackson's history a local black or minority businessman that have done so, give him the opportunity to do what Richards did in Baton Rouge. Richard was a minority under waste management, and he built his capacity, and thank God for that. But you got people right here that have been trying to do it, and every other 4 or 8 years, or however many years, they get shut down. So I think that Lee Bush needs to be a sub on this contract. It's a win-win, because now you got somebody with local capacity, and at the same time, Richard still keeps the contract. So and that is something, unless you all say something different, because my vote represents you. If you say forget the local folk, then okay. But if you want to say, you know what, I think that there's an opportunity, instead of putting the sub on the contract, to do coax wiring for $8 million, to put coax cable in the building that still don't exist today, right, that already got paid, then let's make sure that somebody that's in the business of garbage that's here locally gets an opportunity to build capacity. That if I call them, they know Forest Hill, they know Wingfield, they know, and they will give back, right? So, I mean, and if there's a problem with that, that's a problem. But my thing is that I think that local capacity is important. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Would eliminating, because I'm vehemently against the cards, would eliminating the cards stop the price from rising? We need to try to keep the price at what it was during this emergency.
The 808?
Yeah, because we keep talking about minority businesses. We need to think of the minority residents.
Yes, sir.
Who can't afford this.
Yes, sir.
Those are the minorities I'm concerned about, not the business people. They always have a way of surviving, but the resident minority over the whole city can't afford that.
Before I left to go to D.C., I met with a group of pastors all over Jackson, and this group of pastors said that they would support us going to a deal where we kept somewhat of the same price, but at a lesser time frame, right? But at the end of the day, you know, there are some people, like I've had people come to my office talking about how beautiful the carts look in Meridian and when they go to other cities. You know, I think it should be, again, an option. I think at the end of the day, we need to make sure that whatever happens, for the price that you pay, you get the best service. That's what the power of amendments do. So let me clear this air one more time. This ain't about me coming at Richards. This is about trying to make sure you get the service that you're paying for. Because as of right now, today, when you pay your garbage bill, who it go to? No. Who it go to? It don't go to the city. Who it go to? It go to Jackson Water. Ted Henneford. The people that's trying to do, so there are some conversations. Now, I'm going to also be proposing that we do our own billing. Because I think we have to, because right now, I don't know if I can trust Mr. Ted Henneford. Okay? I don't know if we could trust him. Because he's trying to say, he negotiating our system away. And all of our billing is in that bill. He's negotiating the system away. We need to do our own billing. So there's a broader conversation. They what now? So let's go back to this. The carts. You like the carts. Thank you. That's Brooklyn Neighborhood Association. Heritage Estates. No carts. Okay, Heritage Estates. Yes, ma'am. Mayfair subdivision. It don't matter to you. It don't matter. Get the price down. So we could take the carts out and get the price down. So leave it where it is. Yes, ma'am. We have the power to amend.
Are the carts free?
So the answer is this. Richards pays for the costs, but certainly any costs Richards has are baked into the price of the contract. So that's the answer.
So will our water bills see an increase because of this? Because you just said that Jackson.
Hold on. Your water bills are going to see an increase. Am I correct with this? Okay, we all agree. Your water bills up under this ITPM that just sold us out, negotiate with the state without talking to none of us. Did they talk to you? Did they talk to you? You? Okay, they ain't talking to none of us. That's correct. The garbage is on the water bill. That's why. So that's going to go up anyway.
And okay, well will it increase as well because of the carts?
So the short answer is you have to remember that while Councilman Banks is correct that the contract can still be amended, it can't be amended unilaterally. Richards would have to agree to it. Are there still negotiations that can take place? Yes. If Richards' costs are lowered, could that lower the price of the contract? Yes. But none of that is guaranteed. And the other thing to remember is that the price goes up, and it goes up significantly.
The accountability component that you mentioned earlier when you were running down the tenets of the contract, what are the accountability components again?
So to the city, but we shouldn't just count on self-reporting. So as residents, you want to call the city and say, they didn't pick up my garbage today. They're required by the contract to get back out there as soon as possible, generally within 24 hours, or if there's some reason they can't do that, holidays, time, equipment, or whatever, then as soon as possible after that. And then there are also penalties that take place for those failures.
My second question.
Hold on. That's correct. So the point being that if you call and say they didn't pick my garbage up, but the camera on the truck says, yeah, they did, that's different, of course. But assuming they didn't pick the garbage up when you report it, then they have to come back and get it.
The other question you mentioned as part of the contract that they would pick up trash, waste, if it was bad. Who will be bagging it?
So you're talking about in a storm type situation?
No, you mentioned something about beautification, waste.
Oh, sure. So the city has actually recently entered into some contracts to add crews throughout the city. They're going to be picking up trash and bagging it. So the city's going to be doing that. We also have some volunteer groups that are doing that. But what Richards has said is we'll send a truck and a couple.
Councilman Stokes, I need you to clear up a rumor that's going through my neighborhood. And that,
although you still represent a neighborhood in Georgetown, you stay in my neighborhood. But go ahead.
Councilman, it relates to the name on the garbage, and they said it had a name on the garbage can that they couldn't pick it up. Is that true?
That was true at a point, but I believe that has been, I did have a conversation with the mayor about that, and that has been settled. That was maybe about 3 or 4 months ago. And I will talk about Senate Bill 2628 as soon as we finish this. Yes, sir, Mr. Archie.
Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very well.
Yes,
I
sir.
came over here on the idea of Councilman Stokes. He couldn't be here, and it's not a laughing matter, and it's not a joking matter. It's a $64 million deal.
Yes, sir.
That all council persons up with a $64 million deal. The same, and I think it's important not just to me, but every elected official in this city as well as this county. Why haven't this matter, the council persons and the mayor, has been transparent only before 30 days before signing the deal? We had 1 full year, 1 year, to work on all of these difficulties before rush to vote and to say to the people that work for Richards. It's unfair to the city council persons, and it's really unfair to the mayor to having to go through what he's going through in order to get it passed because there was no transparency. Now, that is the issue. It's a $64 million deal. These folks ought to have known about that 3, 4, 5 months ago. Where did you stand in this $64 million deal, and how close you was getting to closing the deal before 2 weeks or 3 weeks before you actually vote on it?
Sure. Look, I can say this. I can say that the city council, day one after we left court, every council meeting, we've put this on the agenda for discussion. There were times where the city attorney walked out and refused. Not this city attorney. But walked out and refused. We, the mayor and I, have had conversations, full transparency, about a 1 year or 2 year deal, right, that would go to maybe September 25 at the same price. At that time, what was said to us was that MDEQ was requiring us to go into a contract. We met on October 31st. The city attorney called the day before, on the 30th, and said, there's a meeting. I'm going to set it up at 10 o'clock. Me and the vice president agreed to show up. At 9:37 on Halloween, the city attorney said, oh, my bad. It was supposed to be a 9. I called my clerk, asked him to call Chris at the MDQ to say, is there a meeting? They said there was never a meeting set up. So I said, okay, well, we are on our way already. Can we do this at 11:30? The city attorney then came. I asked the question, is this a requirement to reduce the fees? They said, no, it never has been. And so in that moment, because of the misleading, deal off. Because I now misrepresented to all 6 of my colleagues what I thought was good faith and good confidence from then that city attorney, okay? So the thing was, let's get an RFP. We had to do and go into clarifying, because state law says that the governing authorities can come up with an RFP and we can do it together. That didn't happen. I don't have to go to, but we did an order. The mayor did an RFP, okay? This was, and we're just now getting the results. I'm just not getting the contract. Y'all seen me on the news. I've said it over and over again. I want to see the details of a contract so I can take it to here, take it to y'all. Not to fight, not to rehash the past, but take it to y'all. And then to let you know what I think is important. And I think the things that have been said are things that I'm going to take with me. But I do want to talk about local minorities being on this deal. That is important because we have to build local capacity with homegrown folk for Jackson. And if you can't feel that, then I don't know. I don't know what to say. Yes. Come on, man. Come on. Come on.
Okay, you said you had to do an order?
Yes, the council did an order,
Do
Hondo.
what?
The order authorizing the mayor, all the other city.
You can't do an order.
We did an order.
Yeah, you did it.
And we voted on it.
That's not what authorized, that's not what made the mayor do the RLP.
Well, it took something. It should have been done a long time ago, Hondo.
First of all, let me get up.
Come on, driver, talk.
Let me
It should have been done a long time ago.
First of all,
Now, Hondo, I will have you put up out my church.
you gonna put me out the church?
Yeah, I will. No, because I'm not finna go there with him.
No, because you want me to tell it. You don't want me to tell the truth.
Go ahead, go ahead. We did an order.
I'm not, yeah, you did an order, but that's not for, that is not forced the mayor to put it out.
I didn't say we were forced to. I said we did an order.
We had to do one.
We had to.
An RLP. That's not true. Let me tell y'all
No.
what the real deal is.
Okay, all right.
Let me tell y'all what the real deal is. The real deal is that these council people we got, they really don't know the difference between a mayor council form of government and a council manager form of government. They operating in a council manager form of government, which runs the city. The mayor council form of government, the only thing that they have to vote on, all right, let me ask you this here. The city do hundreds of RFP. This the first one that they done been involved in.
That is not.
This the first one that they done really been involved in.
That is not true, Hondo.
Look, their job is to do one thing. And you know what that is? When the mayor bring the contract to them, they have to make a decision whether it's the lowest and best. And the reason why they have to make that decision, they're supposed to be the oversight over the mayor, to keep the mayor from getting a higher contract versus a lower contract. They're supposed to be the oversight. That's all. They part-time. They part-time. The only thing they can do ordinance. They approve the budget. They vote on contracts.
Oh, no, that's not us. No, hold on. Since we going there, that's not us. Call him.
But
No.
they don't know the difference.
I set the budget.
They don't know the difference between a mayor council form of government,
You don't.
which is the mayor
Is the executive.
Some people refer to it as a strong mayor, weak council.
Correct.
That's what some people refer to it.
He's the executive.
They don't know the difference. They don't know the difference. Now, I can sit up here and tell you a lot of stuff. I can stand up here and tell you a lot of stuff about what they doing that's illegal. That's illegal. But, and ask them this. Ask them this. Ask him this. All right? And I want to address you too, Brother Gary. Think about it. When they had minority participation, when Mr. Richard had minority participation on the very first RFP, they fought against him. They fought against him. You got to understand that he still do have minority participation because all of the workers is from Jackson. And guess what ward the majority of them work out of? Ward 3. You right. Ward 3. That's where they come from. The majority of them. Now, I can't speak for Mr. Richard, but I can tell you one thing. If I was in his shoes, I'm not going to put nobody in business. I'm not going to put nobody. I'll work with you, but if you ain't got no equipment, I'm not going to buy you equipment and put you in business. I'm just not going to do that. That's the bottom line. They've been going at this old man. This man been in business 40 years. He right when he said he was a subcontractor up on waste management. He was. He was a subcontractor 40 years ago up on the waste management. But guess what? He invested his money and he got his own business. And he's talking about bullying. Cantrell, he made a statement on the very first contract about Mayor Cantrell out of New Orleans. And she called the mayor and told the mayor he lying on her. That's what she did now. She called the mayor and told the mayor he's lying on her. See, I'm telling you, just listen. That's just like Kenny Stokes. And I'm going to talk about Kenny Stokes. Kenny Stokes get on TV and say we got a Tri-City city, we got a Tri-City neighborhood, and we got a Tri-City community. And don't get me wrong, it is somewhat true. We try, we need to get the, yeah, no, not the entire city. I agree with you. I agree with you, not the entire city. But here's the thing about Kenny. He got on TV that Sunday evening. They played it all that Monday. And when they went in the council meeting on that Tuesday, the vote for New Way, Mississippi to pick up litter, he the only one voted against it. He the only one voted against it. Don't let him hoodwink you.
Did I vote against it, Hundo?
No, you voted for it.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I liked your explanation.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you the truth. He explained to the peoples who knew where Mississippi was. But still, let's be honest. Let's be
Yes, sir.
true. Let's don't lie now. Let's tell the truth. Let's tell the truth. Let's don't put it on Mr. Richards. Let's don't put it all on the mayor. We will have a contract right now if they have. And guess what? The truth of the matter is, their hands are tied right now. You know the reason why their hands are tied? Because MDEQ done told them. For the last pickup, for the last trash pile-up, MDEQ done told them all, said that we're going to fine you $300,000 right now. You got to pay it within 90 days.
That's right.
Said, and if any trash hit the ground.
And it was 1.6, right?
And if any trash hit the ground, we're going to come back and fine you the rest of that $500 and some thousand dollars. You see, and that's not including the money where if they don't vote for this contract, that's not including the money if the trash hit the ground again. What they going to mess around and they're going to bankrupt this city. They're going to put this city in receivership. I'm telling you. And that's what they're trying to do. That's what they're trying to do.
All right. All right. Hold. Hundo, thank you. But the council passing an order is our voice from a unanimous 7 to say, this is what we want the mayor to do. It may not have no authority to you, but at least we got an opportunity to express our voice. That's all I'm saying. Okay, we passed an order, all seven, saying we wanted to move forward with the RFP, okay? You ain't had to do all that defending. We have the right to represent our voice. I do understand legislative, and I ain't trying to go there with you like that, right? Because if I wanted to go there, I'll talk about the $2.7 million for paved streets that was left in the budget and wasn't even spent. Because at the end of the day, when you talk about paving roads, when you talk about dilapidated houses, when you talk about your creeks that are filling up, you call my office, guess what I do? No. No. I put it, hey, you want to know why though? But you want to know why? Because I can't. No, you want to know the truth? Because I can't do nothing. That's not in my authority. Government 101, it's not in my authority. That's not my authority. My authority is legislative and budget. I put it in 311 just like you put it in 311. And I send emails, look, Dr. Wright, I send emails with their complaint to you and the public director. We don't have a public works director, we don't have a planner. I mean, look, we ain't go. So at the end of the day, there needs to be an understanding because the executive branch of the government is supposed to execute. We write laws. For example, Clean Safe School Zone Act. I wrote that law. Within a square mile radius of a school, there shouldn't be anything that could be a detriment to the child. Whose authority is it to enforce it? Not mine. That's their authority to enforce it. If I call somebody, if the fire department, police department, whatever, say go do this, I'm gonna get an email saying you cannot direct employees of the mayor. And I can't. I have a legislative responsibility. So you could call my office about streets all day. All I'm gonna do is forward those emails to the Public Works Director or the lack thereof. Ask why we haven't had a Public Works Director.
Because y'all ran them off.
Ask why we don't have a planning director. Ask how many finance, why we don't have a finance director.
Okay, he has gone way off topic.
No.
Because he takes every opportunity he can to bash the administration. Let me just say this. The reason why...
No, that's because they suffered though, Dr. Umar.
The reason...
You know how many calls I get from teachers that hit potholes? They hit potholes?
Okay, I just want to explain why the RFP was not issued. Because, and one of the reasons why we didn't get more respondents to the RFP is because Richards has a lawsuit against the council for denying them the contract initially. So their lawsuit says that they were frivolous, and what's the other word?
Arbitrary and capricious.
Arbitrary and capricious.
Which is nowhere close to it, but go ahead.
No company wants to, and then no company. Did you want 2 contracts? Did you want to be paying 2 garbage contracts at the same time?
I got it.
So if Richard wins the lawsuit,
They won't.
we will have to pay, and the contract is awarded to somebody else, we will have to pay 2 garbage contracts. Can we afford to do that? No. So the RFP said, the RFP that the mayor issued said, if Richards prevails in his lawsuit, we will have to withdraw the contract from you and give it to Richards. So nobody wanted to take the chance that if they bid and win, they would lose. So that's why you only got 2, and we had to say it that way to protect the financial interests of the city, because we know we can't afford 2 garbage contracts. That's why the mayor waited, trying to get a resolution. Now, one thing he hasn't told you about that agreement, in that agreement for 2 years, Richard said they would drop the lawsuit. Richard said they would drop the lawsuit.
Dr. Omar, now that was
also,
never confirmed.
Let me finish. Let me finish.
Yeah, but you're lying now. That was never confirmed.
I'm not lying. I'm telling you exactly what was said in negotiations.
But it wasn't said to me. It wasn't said to the council.
I'm telling
the city attorney lied.
I'm telling you what the terms of the agreement was. Richards would drop the lawsuit for a 2-year contract. Now that's the truth. Now he's not telling you that. The other part of that is he keeps blaming a city attorney who's not here to defend herself for the fact that they backed out of that lawsuit. But let me just say, what Hondo just told you, what the MDEQ said, is exactly what she said. We will reduce your fine if you get into a contract. And that's exactly what they did, and that's exactly what they just voted for. So I don't know. I don't know whether Ms. Martin misrepresented herself to them, because I wasn't in those meetings. All I know is the outcome is MDEQ fined us $300,000 and held $600,000 or close to that in a
1.6. Yeah.
And their word was, you better not let this happen again.
That's correct.
Now,
That's
so
correct.
the bottom line is 6 and 1/2 a dozen or another. And Councilman,
I'm here
I'm gonna
to,
pray for you.
yeah, thank you.
I'm gonna pray for you.
I'm here to talk about what they want. Look, we could have been having this conversation 6 months ago. No, I'm talking about with the people. I'm talking about with the people. No, I've had town halls, Mr. McCant. No, did I not have town halls here during the whole process? Okay, thank you. I've had town halls.
Councilman,
Yes, sir.
Chris Young, writing for the Mississippi Link newspaper.
Yes, sir.
When is the vote scheduled for, and is there any work sessions between today and when that vote is scheduled for that the public would have access to? And will you post the, is it legal to post that contract up on the website? Or
I have copies of the contract if City Legal gives me the okay to give it. Other than that, oh, it's publicized. Well, if you want to pick up a copy, my clerk has a copy. I bought that on purpose. All right, but work session is Monday. Did y'all make the deadline?
Yes. To get the contract, it's on.
So y'all made the deadline? Okay. All right. So it will be on the agenda Tuesday. It would be on the agenda Tuesday. So again, while we going through again, how do you all feel about carts? It doesn't matter. Or do we? My position on the carts, tell me if you oppose, is that they're optional. Ho. But in the terms of what he said, there's 45,000 now that will receive a cart that will be dropped off. I'm talking about the citizens that might not want a cart dropped off at their house. That's what I'm talking about. There we go to the executing part. We make a vote, we make amendments, and then we go to the executing part. Government 101. We here. All right.
All right.
Yes.
Yes, sir. My name is Germany Gray, and I stay in Ward 5. And before I get to my questions, I must say that I am very disappointed in how you have conducted yourself during this meeting.
Okay.
You have interrupted people, you have raised your voice, and you have said comments that I don't know if I'll give the benefit of the doubt. You have said comments that are intentionally malicious about Richard's disposal. And whether I understand you may have your personal beliefs, but in this meeting that I'm assuming to believe that you organize in good faith, this meeting was supposed to be about us expressing our concerns to you about this contract. This was not supposed to be about an attack on Richard's disposal or any other contract that this city may propose. This is about addressing the needs of the citizens and getting us a contract that we need. We only have so long, and I really am disappointed that you took that type of route with this meeting, because as a leader, as a representative of this city, you should do better. Please deliver for us, do your job. But my question is, you have mentioned that you want to add a local substitute to the contract. Do you think that Richard's disposal will be against this amendment?
I hope not.
Okay.
I hope not. And let me say this. I respect and I appreciate you, and you should be, but when I had an agenda of how I wanted to run this meeting, and that was to get feedback, okay? When questions were asked and things were said, I responded, and maybe I should have held my tongue a little bit and not responded to certain things. But just the way that Banks is.
Banks needs to be better.
Yes.
You get paid by us. We're not. And
part-time.
That's another thing too.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Part-time needs to be unemployed. Because
yeah.
if you're gonna have this attitude with us when you are our employee, that's disrespectful. But we'll handle that when the elections come.
No, he's free to do it. But hold on, y'all. Hold on.
For city council next year. So please take note of how your representatives are talking to you, people you pay. And that's just.
Are trying to do this before we have this conversation.
Like I said, you organize this meeting in good faith.
Okay.
But you have taken this too far.
All right. I got you.
Do better. You are an elected official.
Okay.
You are my elder. I look up to you, and you're not being a leader that I can look up to right now.
Yes, sir.
He made himself clear. You had a question. I'm a thanks to.
Yes, sir.
You made yourself clear. He acknowledged you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. With my one more question, do you have to offer any other amendments to this contract?
Councilman Banks.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'd
Yes,
just
sir.
like to say there is no conflict in what we're saying, Hondo. The goal of minority business development and equity in contracts should have no conflict at all with the administration and the council. This is how cities are beautiful. When you go into Madison, you go into Rankin County, you look at how those dollars in their local community.
That's right.
That's how you do that. We are guilty of shopping everywhere but Jackson. We are guilty of not supporting the business class in Jackson. Now, jobs are one thing, but equity to do that. 35 years ago, this city had EBO policies in place that said that it is a mandatory joint venture with a local minority firm if it's over $15 million. That's 35 years ago. Now, we're supposed to be progressive now where we should have local prime and this is not about Socrates Garrett, because my time is done. This is about how we're going to build a city. And we got to do that by making everybody that comes in here deal with our local economy. Congressman Thompson says, do not come to my office in Washington, D.C. without a minority partner. Now, that's what he says. And our mayor and our council should say the same thing. And the council has the authority, Aaron, to write the ordinance, do this disparity study, put the policies in place on how contracts what they will be required, and we wouldn't be having this conversation. And white folk expect us to do that. They expect us to take care of ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Garrett. All right. So, again, back to, look, let me say this in case it was misunderstood. I have no choice but to support Richards. So let me get that clear. All right? I have no choice but to support him, right? But the thing is about the service and the amendments. Once this gets before the council, tonight was about hearing your concerns concerning carts. And if you notice, for the record, I kept trying to say the same thing over and over again. What about the amendments? You know, and I apologize if I got defensive based on some of the reaction. I let that go. But I want to get back to the basis. Tuesday, this is going to come before this body. I think you heard the highlights from the city attorney. I think Drew did a good job with pointing that out, okay? Where we were a year ago is mute. Where we are now is important. I do think that we should put a local provider in there, because I think that just like Richards had the opportunity to do it in Baton Rouge, somebody from Jackson needs that same opportunity, right? And I think that there have been a lot of people that had the opportunity to do it, and that opportunity has passed them by, you know, right? So I think it is important that we build local capacity. The other thing is I want to hear about the carts. Now, I said optional. How that's worked out, that's something that will go to the table. You know, if not, if you say, hey, Banks, I want you to do it as it is. If the service as it is outlined, then and notice, and I appreciate, we got people here from Ward 5. You don't stay in my ward, right? But I've been listening to, and Mr. McCant, and to all the other folks, the Ward 6, you have been at all of them. I have them once every 3 months, and you've been at every one of them. And I've announced it in a timely manner and sent emails and even sometimes robocalls. And I apologize if people are offended that. But at the end of the day, where we are right now is when this comes before the council, what are the services you are concerned about? Do you want the carts? Do you not want the carts? You know, and do you want us to push for there to be a local vendor on this contract? Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Garrett, I don't think it's fair to compare Jackson and what it looks like to Madison, because number one, Madison has a strong mayor. Do what I say, council. So those two things don't happen. The builders in Madison, she dictates that. As far as Rankin County and all these surrounding counties, their business is not always on TV like ours is. All our business is out there.
That's true.
So let me say this. When it comes to Richards, and I'm coming back to this, let's look at this. We're talking about minority participation. A one-year contract is all he's ever gotten. That's unheard of. If you only have a job for a year, employers look at you like, what's wrong with you? You can't keep a job. That's not even enough time. I would not go out and make a financial investment on a one-year contract. And I don't think you would either. You're a very good businessman. So what I want to say is this. When it comes to the carts, we have said, we raised our hands. It's the implementation and the logistics of how these will be disseminated. The city attorney said that the carts are optional. If we don't want the carts, then we can't tell you and I told you this, Councilman Banks, I appreciate how you stepped up. I appreciate the growth that I've seen in you. But tonight, I don't know.
That's fair. That's fair.
But at the last council meeting, I told you that the way you handle that, I came to you and I told you that. And the thing about it is, if you're right, and I can agree with you, I said, I won't always agree with you. But I'll tell you when I see you do something that I think is commendable. And it was commendable what you did at the council meeting. But I still don't think that Richard is being treated fairly. The logistics of whether we get a card or not, that's something that has to be worked out. We can't tell you, well, you go door to door, y'all gonna pay me for a consultation fee. No, that's consultation. But I'm disappointed.
So let me say this.
Okay.
It's a 6-year contract on the table. I don't know why this 1 year is coming up. All right. That was passed. I'm talking about what's on the table now.
Well,
6-year contract.
In all honesty, so all we have is the past and the present.
I get it, but I'm talking about I'm getting guidance for the decision I got to make Tuesday, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, that's what I'm trying to. So it's a 6-year agreement on the table. Okay, carts are in there. That 45,000 carts are going to be delivered. All right.
So are you saying they're going to bring them and then we say don't come back and get them? Is that it?
Would the city attorney clarify?
Yeah, that's what I need.
I can't clarify what you're saying, but the contract says currently is the carts will be delivered. You can use the cart and put it out on the street. Okay. You can put it in your backyard and put a tree in it. And you can put out on the street what you currently put out on the street, and it's fine.
Now
Yes, sir.
I understand what you're saying.
Yes. Yes, sir.
My driveway is probably 100 yards. I do not want
His dad told me to keep it.
No, I don't want paper. That's the other thing. Because, my wife and I stay in a very large home, and we generate about 13 gallons a week.
I get you.
Regular kitchen trash bags, all we ever generate. Why would I want to push a 96-gallon car 100 yards down the driveway?
I understand, and I understand. So I don't know this for certain, but I suspect if you told Richards, take my cart and just keep it for yourself, well, you're not paying for it except in the sense that it's part of the overall contract. Your bill won't be any different either way.
So I think this is the overall question that I was trying to get to earlier before all this other stuff happened. If the carts were taken out, would that back the price down?
It's a question for Richards, but
logically
the answer is probably so.
Okay, so here we go. This is the conversation, all right? We get a cheaper price, maybe, if we back the carts out, If we want to fight to make sure that there is a local provider or somebody from here that is on this deal, then that's a fight that I'm willing to do. Again, I'm doing this to hear from y'all. Not how Aaron Banks voted in the past. I want to hear from, yes, ma'am, you had your hand up patiently. I apologize. Can somebody, who has the mic?
lady over there, I just want, is rehashing something, but I just want to be sure. Did I understand you to say that Richards would have agreed to drop the case had they had a 2-year contract? Is that what you said? Yes. Okay, so that sounds like the tail wagging the dog. But anyway, but it's already, that's already decided. There's no option of going back. It's 6 years period. Is that correct by doing that?
It shouldn't. Actually, if Richards is leasing, let's just say, all right, I don't know. Let's say if he's leasing 11 trucks, and let's say this subcontractor has 7 trucks, then that's trucks he don't have to lease, but then it's also build the capacity with the local, because at the end of the day, in Jackson, we want local business owners.
Right. And I understand that perfectly, and I think that's great, because I do think when it's the cheapest and the best, as the law says, I agree, then that is something you want to promote. So, in other words, the subcontractor would also provide his trucks, so he would have, he would be building up his potential for future contracts.
Correct.
Right?
So
he won't be just using Richard's trucks, right?
Correct.
Is that what you're talking about?
Right.
Okay.
Right. I mean, people may say, well, but I was privy to conversations. One of the things with waste management, they were forced when Councilman Yarber was councilman and Councilman Lumumba to put a minority from Jackson on the waste management contract, right? And the hopes is that minority will build capacity to do just what Richards did in Baton Rouge. And part of my passion and my fight is to see that happening. Jackson is a capital city, and we should be able to point to at least 10 prime contractors that are local.
Yeah, so you can have the options in the future of having additional RFPs.
We should at least be able, yes.
And, okay, so the subcontractor will have their own trucks. So again, they would be building up their potential for companies in the future. Is this something that you can put in the contract that they will be required to have?
When it gets before the council, we can make amendments, and yeah, we can make it because it has to pass with 4 votes, right? And hopefully Richards will be there so that we can have some conversation. All right.
And one of the other things which seems to be kind of an issue.
And let me say this, because I knew it would be a lengthy conversation, is the reason I was pushing for this to come out earlier, so that we can have the time to have this dialogue,
right.
And then dialogue. Attack me, don't like me, whatever, but at least I'm here to say, what is your take? Because at the end of the day, you are the people. All right.
And this is just the issue of whether people want to have containers or not. And I understand you're saying they just issue it to everybody and they do with it as they please, but they'd still be responsible for it. So I was just wondering, can you put something in the contract that, and I realize they're going to have to purchase a store, but then if you don't want a contract that they will have some way to account for that. In other words, if people want to receive them, they can, or don't. If they don't want them, do you see where I'm going with that?
Yeah, I think it's a logistics question, and those are things that we will have to discuss. You know, look, when I look at it, me, honestly, most of the people in Jackson have gone to Lowe's or Walmart and invested in some type of container that deals with their load of garbage anyway, right? And so if we can come out with a good deal that provides maybe some wraparound services, you know, we haven't even got to talking about bucket items yet, right?
And that was
I know, we hadn't even got there, but that's a part of the agreement and the feedback when we talk about, because right now, I think it's bucket items, I think it's Saturday, right? And then when we look at, like on Lake Shore Road, the amount of couches and mattresses and stuff that's on, if you provided more of an opportunity for bulky items to be placed on the curb, how does that help with our dilemma? And so these are the intelligent questions where I wanted to try to go today.
And it could, I mean, it might be an inconvenience just to have it, put it out there and it sit there, until that one day, but, that's just an inconvenience. I mean, that's not something that's undoable.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Businessmen, as far as getting the contract,
Yes,
local
ma'am.
minority business, did you have any
Well,
other minority business in mind other than the Bush?
The only reason I said that because they were the only two that responded, and since he's local, and he took the time to respond, I just thought it would only be fair to give him an opportunity. All right. And you my sister right here in the back, my wife Sarah, right here. Aren't you AK? Yeah, my wife Sarah right there. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I wanted to get back to my opposition to the carts. I personally don't need one. They're bulky, they're heavy, and I sat here at this whole meeting and I heard the terminology and the words that they were free. Nothing is free. Now those carts cost about $80-some a piece. You talking about 45,000? Do the math. If you do the math, you can solve the problem. We talking about millions of dollars on some carts. So in what realm is anything free when you're talking about millions of dollars? It just doesn't make business sense. So
All right.
that's my take on it.
All right, thank you. Do we have any information on what the actual cost of the carts is over a period of time?
It's approximately $96 for the registration and delivery of the car.
And that's annually, or is that one time? It's a one-time fee. So, just to kind of get some clarity, so it's $96.
Approximately, maybe included. Yeah.
One time.
Right.
It's delivered. Okay.
But that's not charged to the customer at that point.
It's charged to the city, but at the end of the day, the taxpayer still got to pay for it. All right. So then, if a cart is stolen or needs to be replaced,
The city will not pay for the next replacement. Richards will pay for the cost of that replacement.
okay, what happens in the event? And I said this the last time on the record, because the last house count before this was 53,000, and this is 45,000 carts.
Yeah.
So what happens to the other 8,000 citizens?
Short answer is there's going to be a count to make that number more accurate. That's the estimated number that's accurate based on current garbage bills.
Who's doing the count, and will it be done before I vote on this?
The second part, I don't know the answer to that. The first part, it's from the actual bills that are put out there.
The bills that who put out there?
Well, the Jackson Water. That's where that's right.
Okay. All right. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I have two questions.
Yes, ma'am.
You said interchangeably local and you said minority. So are we trying to give you permission or give you our opinion on having a minority contractor with another minority contractor? Or are we trying to have a local contractor?
Local.
Okay,
But the local happens to be a minority.
Okay.
But yes.
okay.
Yes.
That answers that. Now, the second thing is, you keep going round and round and round about the carts, okay?
I think we just got some details.
But whose idea was it? Was it Richard's idea, or was it the council or whoever's idea to do the carts?
Wasn't the council's.
Okay, so it wasn't the council's.
No.
Was it Richard's idea?
No. The RFP
Okay, the
is
RFP.
performed by.
But I was just wondering, since there was so much talk about it, whether it was something that was not asked for by the people that did the RFP.
You mean that put the RFP together?
Yes.
Or responded?
No. When you put the RFP together,
Mhm.
you have specs and that you have requirements that you want the people to respond to. So if they responded to that was in the RFP, but you keep bouncing it around like, oh, well,
What?
if you don't want it, you can take it out. Yes, you
Yo-
can
yo-
negotiate anything, but that was just my question as to whether it was in the RFP.
So yes, and the administration does that. But so here's been my position. My position has been from the past 20 town halls we had in Ward 6, the position of those that have showed up here has been no carts, okay? And I think it has been the position of the majority of the council that have said no carts. And yes,
You're wanting a local contract.
I would like to see a local contract on this.
And this one just happens to be minority.
It was only 2 people that responded.
Right, okay.
NCS, which is Lee Bush, and Richards, which is from out of town. I think we should continue what was started years ago and continue to build local capacity. And I think that that's fair. I don't think that we need to put any local business out of business because they're here.
They, to me, then were privy to stuff that Mr. Richard wasn't because he came from outside. What was the problem? You know, when you do a contract, you can ask for a hearing or feedback.
I'm gonna be the first to, yes, sir. And then, yes, ma'am. Hold on, let him, and then let this young lady go, Dr. Murray, and then.
I commend you being here and listening to a broad spectrum of the city of Jackson. But you're responsible for residents of Ward 6.
Yes, sir.
I want you to understand that.
Yes, sir.
We vote for you.
Yes, sir.
Some of the people here don't vote for you.
Yes, sir.
They never will.
Yes, sir.
You're responsible to the residents of Ward 6.
Yes, sir.
And I want you to understand that.
Yes, sir.
Because we have a little problem. And we have a lot of residents in wards in our city that can't afford the cans to put their trash in. So they put Kroger bags out there on the street to be picked up. Dogs and cats and raccoons and everything that get that trash and carry it all over the community. The trash in the cart. And that's to take care of the people who are doing the work. These carts also, should you have to go automatic, which we have said we do not want to take fully automatic, but should we need to, should Richard, so every major city in the United States has a cart system that their trash is used to pick up. There are some communities, like what's happening in Hinds County, you can't use anything but the trash can that waste management gives you, right? And as far as people not wanting the cart, I can understand that. But the piece about you can or cannot use it, I think you should take that into consideration. Because there are a lot of people in your city who can't afford to buy the kind of trash container that they need to keep litter off our streets. So I understand if you don't want to use it, and we made it clear to Richards that if people don't want to use it, they shouldn't have to use it. And he agreed. So I think that it's, the public health, public safety. If you have stuff in them that may be toxic or dangerous, you can protect neighbors and communities, and you also protect the workers. So they don't get cut up by picking up a bag that has broken glass in it, and their legs get cut up and they end up having to go to the hospital and get tetanus shots and all of that. Picking up trash is dangerous work, right? So those are the reasons why we chose to add garbage bins, garbage carts to the RFP.
And everybody surrounding us got them. Vicksburg got them, Brookhaven got them, Belzoni got them.
Meridian, Hattiesburg, yeah.
Everybody got them.
All right. I think no, let me just say this. Go ahead.
It's real quick. I'm not antagonistic about anyone. I just want us to pull together and get together because unity is where our strength lies. And we have to stop fighting one another and stop presenting ourselves. I don't mean you particularly, anybody in here. We have to come together in unity and peace and move forward. I was a little boy doing the civil rights. My father worked in it, and people work together, and they got things done. And it's time to just, bring back the word love and make it mean brotherhood and make it mean something. Now, so there are inclusive costs. We have to understand that. I have no children, no little children. I have one grandson. He's in Hinds County. But I have to pay taxes for school. I don't have children there. I don't go to the Children's Museum. I don't go to a lot of places. But we have to pay for those things because they're all for the good and better of the community. So if you have a great big house and I mean, yeah, that's fine. I mean, if you don't, you can afford. A lot of people need, for the health and safety reasons they've given us. We need that, and so we need schools. So I gladly pay my school taxes. You know, there's no problem, and no problem if a person is getting an EBT card, they pay a lower water bill than I do. My wife and I don't have one. That's okay with me because the blessing is coming from God. And then so let's just take a different look at it. That's all.
No.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
I know.
How's everybody doing? Real quick, my name is Mr. Thompson. I'm from Brooklee, and I will honestly have to say, personally, we haven't had one problem out of Richards ever since they've been Richards. You know, I don't have any problem with them. They do a great job. Sometimes I put stuff out there hoping they're gonna get it, and they get it. I put stuff out there looking through the window to see if they're gonna get it, and they got it. I don't have no problem with Richards. You know what I'm saying? And so
Right.
I think they deserve a contract. I mean, for somebody to do the work for 2 years for nothing, they show that they're interested in the city. They want to be here. I do think that we need to have something that will help the other businesses. I think we need to move with Richards, cut all the chase, all this argument, and let's get Richards the contract and let's go home.
All right.
Okay, I'll be quick. Well, 2 questions, maybe 3. So I see we have having a lot of conversation about this card. Some people want it, some people don't. Is it a way that we can do an opt-in program where you can opt in to get in the card?
What I think the thing for us to do, and what I'm hearing tonight, is to first of all look at what the cost difference would be. If it's a cost difference that will save money for the citizens, then that's an option. And that's why I think these conversations need time to be taught, because all of those logistical questions I won't be able to deal with until it gets before us. But I need the feedback.
Yes.
Okay.
So I think it would be great to look at that option, because we could do an opt-in program where people say they want a cart, and we could have it where the people, if enough people don't say they want a cart, we can reduce that from the total cost. If that can be arranged. I do think with this cart, there are.
Y'all are opposed to it?
You're opposed to it? So I think that's great feedback. Can you tell us, Ryan?
They're already the lowest bid. If they had the highest bid, perhaps maybe my issue is they're already the lowest. So now you're going to take away from what their lowest bid is already.
Yeah, so
but
these
if
are.
no cost, I don't have an issue. Cost to them.
These will be negotiation point. This is what I don't know, right?
Then just go with the contract.
No. I hear you. I hear you. But if Richards is leasing, if Richards, and there's a local company that could get a part of that contract to build capacity where he don't have to lease them and they provide their trucks, then hey, what's I think we got to be a local capacity.